We're going to talk about some different tricks with your graphing calculator and then also how to create a scatter plot and a line of best fit using your graphing calculator. So you can follow along with me on your quick tips sheet. I'm just going to run through that. Here is the calculator, so what your calculator is going to look like. Here's what your screen should look like. And then down here is going to be the history of what keys I'm pressing. So you can see exactly what keys I'm pressing to follow along with your directions. So first thing is I want everyone to clear your calculator. To clear, you hit the second button, then the plus sign, number 7 for reset, number 1, press number 2 for yes, you want to reset, and your calculator is cleared. So anytime you get an error message or your, whatever you're trying to do is not working on the calculator, my first thing to troubleshoot is always to just reset. So if you hit this y equals button right here, that's where you can type in an equation to be graphed on your calculator. When let's just type in 2x plus 3. And then when you hit graph, you'll see that line. And then if you hit the window, this is where you can adjust what part of the graph you see. So this window is going from, on the x-axis, -10 to +10. It's counting by ones. On the y-axis, it's also going from -10 to +10 and counting by ones. So let's go ahead and create a table. So press the Stat button, number 1 for edit, or you can press enter for edit. Into list 1, go ahead and enter the test marks on that table on your paper. So I'm going to enter a 61, press enter, 95, 44, 93, 63, 80, 62, 95, 65, and 88. So those are all the students' test grades. So now press the over to the right arrow to get to list 2, and let's enter their homework grades. So a 35, 50, 5, 50, 15, 34, 16, 50, 7, and 38. So we've entered our table into the calculator. So now if we want to write a linear equation for that data, so well, actually, if we wanted to write a linear equation for 2 points, for example, you would do the same thing you just did, only entered only the 2 points into your table. So let's skip down to create the scatter plot, and then we'll come back to writing the linear equation with 2 points. So here's our data. We want to create a scatter plot. So we created the table. Let's hit the second button and the y equals button because it says stat plot in blue at the top. You have to make sure that your stat plot is on. So press enter, and then you need to make sure you press enter again so that off is no longer highlighted and on is blinking. So we have our table created already, so now we can just hit the graph button. As you can see, it's kind of hard to see our scatter plot. So let's hit the zoom button and then 9 for statistics. And there is our scatter plot for the data table that we just entered. So if we want to draw a line of best fit on our calculator, we go to Stat, over to Calculate, and we want to choose option number 4, the linear regression. So you can either scroll down and highlight number 4 and press enter, or just press number 4. So we're using list 1 and list 2, which are the 2 columns that we put into our table. Let's go ahead and graph the equation now that we're at this step. So if you scroll down to store regression equation, using the down arrow, hit this vars button. scroll over to Y bars, press number 1 for a function, and number 1 for Y1, so that you have store regression equation in Y1. And then you can scroll down to highlight calculate and press enter. So this is our regression equation here. They give you the format, y equals mx. Well, they use ax plus b. So a, or we call it m, is our slope, which is 0.89. And then b is negative 36.7. So you would just substitute in a and b and write your equation for your line of best fit. We want to see it on the graph, just press graph. And there is the calculator's line of best fit for this data. Okay, let's go back up to writing a linear equation given 2 points. So press the stat button and then edit. Let's go back to our table. If we go over to list 1, press the up arrow so that L1 is highlighted, press clear, and then the down arrow, it'll clear that whole list. So go over to list 2, highlight L2, press clear, and then press the down arrow, and we've cleared our list. So go back to list 1. We want to enter the 0.14. 1 is x, so I'm going to enter that in the x column for L1. 4 is y, so I'm going to enter that in L2. Our second point is 5, 10, so I'm going to enter 5, and then enter 10 into list 2. So this L1 is like x, L2 is y. So if I just want to know what would be the equation for that line, which is what we've been doing in class by hand. Now you can do it with your calculator. Just go to Stat, over to Calculate, choose number 4 again. Just press Enter. We don't have to store it anywhere now because we don't have a stat plot. And there's your equation. So your slope is 1.5. Your y-intercept is 2.5. So it would be y equals 1.5x plus 2.5. So that would be an excellent way on the EOG especially to check and make sure that your linear equations you're writing are correct.